The state's foundation formula for our public schools is complex and remains underfunded. Should it be overhauled, and if so, how?
We've worked hard to work with the legislature, both in the changes they've made in the past as well as the methods that we fund K-12 education. And we will continue to put dollars there. As I said before, last year at the beginning of the year, our focus was on making sure that we preserved the funding for K-12 so that we had a certainty of their dollars, unlike other states. And we were able to get that done, quite frankly, record spending on investment on K-12 education. As we move forward, working with folks to make sure that we get the necessary tweaks to the formula if they're necessary because of growth across the state and shifts in population and assessed valuation is something we'll work for. But it is a very complicated rubric, and I think that it is, it's very easy to talk about how things might be different, but the bottom line is that the legislature has in various times, this last method was pushed through by Senator Shields and others. It focuses on the right things, and we will look forward to working with them if there are necessary small changes to be made. But that basic formula, that making sure we get an equitable distribution of those dollars is something that's been part of Missouri law for many, many decades, and we'll continue to work to make it as efficient, effective, and as fair as possible.
Dave Spence.
It's a slippery slope, it really is, because no matter where you go in the state, some people feel like they don't get enough. The ones that are getting it want to hang on to it. I'm willing to look at it. You know, I'm a problem solver. I'm not a politician. We got a lot of problems in our state. If people feel like it's a problem, I'm willing to open up and look at it. And I'll surround myself with people that are unbiased and look at it and see if it's truly fair. But also, in our state, we have a funding problem. It's called lack of taxpayers. Money is not always the answer to every problem in education. Can they tweak their business model? Absolutely, I would encourage that too. That's just common sense. That's good business sense. But we really need to look at the number of taxpayers and the number of people that are on unemployment and that have given up. And that is hurting our overall education system because our tax base is dwindling. So the best thing we can do is encourage more jobs come to Missouri businesses to expand, get more taxpayers, and then you know what? It's a nice problem because you have funding. But right now, we are trying to squeeze blood from the turnip in our state. A lot of farmers, they know what that means. And we just don't have enough taxpayers to truly fund our K-12 equitability so that everybody's happy.
Jim Higgins.
Yeah, there's always a battle with the school formula. We send the money to Jeff City, put it in a big pool, and then we spend a lot of time and effort. School administrators spend a lot of time and effort. The bureaucrats spend a lot of time and effort trying to figure out how to distribute it back to the schools. Well, why even send it to Jeff City in the first place? Let the school districts keep their own money and use it the way, the best way they see fit. And have charter schools and vouchers, and let parents make choices for their children. Right now, parents don't get involved with the schools because they don't have any choices. The only choice they have is the flowers you can plant out in the front of the school or something. But we need to, if there were vouchers and parents had more financial resources to spend on, that they could spend their own money on their children's education, they would make better choices than the bureaucrats would.
Jim Higgins has raised the issue of vouchers for education. We have enough time for a 45-second rebuttal. Governor Nixon, would you like to address vouchers for education?
I think with the limited resources we have, plus the basic understanding of Missourians that public schools are supported by the public, I just think it's a clear values issue that we should not take public dollars and send them to private schools. And the only way that we're going to, and there have been efforts to try to do that. And both of my opponents have been in favor of doing that. I think it is not the right way to go for our state. I think that public education needs to be supported by the public. You need to have that connection with the communities. It's a long tradition of our state. It's an important part of what public education means, that direct tie. And taking public dollars and giving them to private schools, I think is a significant shift from what we have been as a state and wrong on policy.
Dave Spence, do you support the use of vouchers in education?
Not right now. No, I think it'd be mass chaos, to tell you the truth. But I do think the only thing that's going to improve our education system and the education or the systems that are failing of those 50,000 kids in our state is competition. Those families and kids deserve better. Missourians should expect more. You know, sometimes those business models are broken, and we need to tear it up and start over. Our education system, we tend to dwell in the negative. I'd say 97% of the schools in the state are working really well. However, the most impactful people in our state are the ones in those unaccredited districts. And we're losing a whole generation by not putting every effort and whatever it takes. And if it includes school choice, that's what it's going to be, because we need to get those people graduating to a dream versus a life of poverty.
Jim Higgins, you have the option to say more about vouchers if you'd like.
I'll pass.
Okay.